Hi, my name's Kate Sargent from the Department of Primary Industries in Victoria. I'm the Evergraze project leader. Today I'm going to show you how to use the feed budget and rotation planner to work out how many hectares you need for a mob of lambing ewes. So when you first go into the feed budget and rotation planner downloaded from the Evergraze website, you'll see three buttons: instructions, data entry and data tables. The data tables show you where we get all the information from. They're from ProGraze and lifetime ewe management courses. You can use those as a reference at any time or to see how the calculations are done. Okay, so going into data entry. Now, when you first go into the data entry menu, you'll see a number of buttons. These buttons all do different feed budgets for you. Today, we're just going to use the how many hectares do I need, because I want to work out the area required for a mob of 300 lambing ewes. Okay, so leading up to August, when I lamb my ewes down, I need to be thinking about how much feed I'm going to have available in these lambing paddocks. Okay, so to work out the current feed on offer, you'll see that there's a table here, table 6, for a bit of help. So the height of the pasture correlated with the density gives me approximately how much feed is there. So I think I will have about 4 centimetres in height on a moderate density pasture, so about 1200 kilos per hectare is what I think I'm going to have. Another way to work out how much feed you've actually got is by looking at the Lifetime Ewe Management website. In here, there's a photo gallery of different feed on offer values. Okay, so if I just take a quick look here, I think I'm going to have about this 1300 mark, around that sort of level. Okay, so back to my feed budget. So 1300 kilos per hectare. When I take my animals out of the paddock, I need to be thinking about how much feed I want available to meet their requirements, as well as maintaining above the requirement to make my pastures persist. So to make my pastures persist, I really want to keep it above 800 kilos per hectare. So you're really getting down into the red zone if you graze below that and you're threatening your pasture persistence. I also want to try and keep my pastures growing as quickly as possible. So trying to keep it above 1200, below 2200 is a good way to go, but obviously that's not always possible. So in this situation, when I take my ewes out of the paddock, I think I'm going to want about 1000 kilos available. Table 5 also shows you approximately how much feed your animals actually require to maintain themselves, and that's also a good consideration. So for my lactating ewes, let's say they've got single lambs on them, they actually require 1000 kilos to maintain themselves. Okay, so moving on, pasture quality. The pasture quality is the digestibility of the pasture and the energy. So in here, we've got a number of options. We've got green growing pasture in August. It's got about 15 to 30% clover in it, so I think it'll be about 75% digestible. So I'll select that. The consumption wastage factor. When stock graze pastures, they tend to foul them, trample them, etc. So there is some wastage. So we have to put a percentage of the consumption in here to factor that in. For very highly stocked pastures, this will be a little bit higher. If they significantly trample the paddock, or if it's very wet pastures, it'll be higher. Average pastures are about 30%, so I'm going to put that in. Okay, so decay wastage factor is irrelevant at this time of the year. It's really only for late spring and summer when the pastures are senescing and you're losing a lot of pasture from shrivelling up and blowing away. So we leave that blank. The pasture growth in kilograms dry matter per hectare per day, the best way to work this out is to measure it regularly. However, we don't have that option today, so there is a little guide on table 7, and you can see here we're in August. I've got a good pasture, so about 45 kilos per hectare is about what it would be growing. This is just a really simple guide. If you want to get to have a look at some of the different regions, then the Making More from Sheep web page actually has some indicators as to what pasture growth would be for different regions and fertility levels. Okay, so pasture growth I said was going to be 45 kilos per hectare per day. The number of days I want to leave the animals in the paddock. Okay, well, I joined them for 42 days, so I think I'm going to need to leave them in the paddock for 42 days for lambing. The next section is to work out what type of animals you have. So simply I select my ewes, and they are crossbred ewes, 60 kilos, and they are lactating obviously, and the number of animals I want to put in this paddock is 300. Okay, so you can see here it's worked out for me. The animals are consuming 2.4 kilos per head per day. Their energy consumption is 20.9 megajoules, and this is enough to meet their requirements. If the pasture wasn't meeting their requirements, and I'll just reduce the amount of digestibility here, it would say that my pasture is unsuitable, so I need to be feeding those animals. I could also tell it that I've only got 500 kilos per hectare on offer, and it would tell me that the energy intake is insufficient for these lambing ewes, and again I would need to feed them. So I'll just pop that back up to the 1400 kilos. Okay, so the total area required then is 16.8 hectares. So if I want to lamb these ewes down for 42 days without taking them into the paddock, taking them out of the paddock, and still have 1,000 kilos per hectare left at the end, I'm going to need 16.8 hectares for these lambing ewes. For further information, go to the Evergraze website on www.evergraze.com.au or have a look at the other clips. I am going to have a go at putting some of those together today. Thank you.